Hi, welcome to my channel. I didn't realize I had 18 people writing me from, I guess, mostly the US regarding my video about Charlie Kirk. May he rest in peace. So since I've had a lot of time to think, maybe I reacted too quickly. And when I saw Charlie Kirk's father breaking down and crying and asking for his 31-year-old son, it really touched me deeply even. But I do want to stress the fact that transgender people are becoming an ideology is a problem for me. A lot of people in Israel, for instance, it's considered a mental illness. Transgenders are giving a status of mentally handicapped. And when they get some money if they need and help, there's a center. And they see them mostly as people who need help. And there's some amazing transgenders. I met a transgender who, man to woman, who is a coach, life coach, an amazing life coach. There's so many transgenders who are part of this society. They actually go to the army and they get guns and they don't shoot anybody to death unless it's a terrorist. And so I thought about it, that maybe a lot of people felt the need to defend Charlie from me, but I wasn't really attacking him. I just thought that, I was just asking questions like, what kind of funeral did Jesus have? You know what I mean? I thought real Christianity to me, as a person who lives in the land of where Jesus was born and lived and preached, I'm just thinking, I'm trying not to take photos of people walking by who don't want to be here. Jesus didn't live a very lavish lifestyle. He said the meek shall inherit the earth, and it's easier for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than a camel go through the eye of a needle. It's all about being very humble. He was very against wealthy people and making money from religion. That was his big thing. And I have to say, I have a problem with all these religious institutions where people make a lot of money from people. And that was one of the things he did, for instance. He was speaking against making money from religion. And I think religion has become a big business all over the world, and especially in the US, you have people living like kings. And why should a person who preaches religion travel all over, have a huge home, have servants, whatever? It changes your whole energy when you have a lot of luxury. You treat people differently, which is why I'm glad I'm not in this position. I really do think that the meek will inherit the earth. As for his killer, I feel so sad for the family. And to be honest, it's very hard for me to hate somebody who's so lost, who was taught from an early age to shoot. Like I'm so grateful that my children didn't have a grandfather who taught them to shoot. I actually, wait. For a while, one of my sons wanted to learn to shoot, and I took him to a shooting range, and he enjoyed it, but then we stopped. And I definitely would not encourage him to shoot and kill an animal. And that's where it starts, from animals. So all these people who misunderstood me, I want to correct the impression I made. I'm not against Charlie Kirk, but I really think making transgenders and LGBT into a political entity of the left is a big mistake. In Israel, we have LGBT people, at least I know a few, even as somebody in the parliament, who are not at all left. They're actually right-wing and not at all left. So I don't understand the relation, why transgender people are necessarily representative of leftist ideology. And definitely this should be, instead of admiring Charlie, although I really feel sad for his family and him, I'm deeply saddened by the murder. I think that instead of making a lavish funeral, it's time to open up. And that institute of his, instead of saying to people how they should be Christians, they should follow Jesus, maybe we should open up communication channels. So people, like he said, Charlie said, when people stop talking, then violence comes. But I would say something else from my life experience, that a lot of people don't know how to talk. And they are violent and they cannot talk. They don't know how to talk. And maybe they could have been taught how to speak. But they definitely should know that if you don't have anything to say that is not violent, just be quiet, and not attack people. And there's a big need to talk about nonviolent communication. And that should be that's what I think. You want to attack me? Fine. I'm not going to lose my job. There's a shortage of teachers, and I'm not political at school, just so you know. I never ever talk about politics. There's so much to talk about besides politics, about how to be a good person, and I don't bring in religion, I don't bring in gender ideology or any ideology except to be kind to others and to treat others nicely and to behave in a nice way so we can all get along. I don't quote any leaders or any ideology or any schools, just common sense and some educational videos that have nothing to do with religion or politics. Because I think religion and politics have become more about power. And as for what's happening, I really want to stop watching all those videos. And I really want to wish people nonviolence. We all need to live in a nonviolent world. So, yeah. So all those saying, fire that woman, I'm not going to get fired. There's a shortage of teachers. I really put in 1,000% into my teaching. I really care. And I work and work and work on improving my teaching and doing a better job every time and getting to the kids who are unmotivated and getting them to learn. And I think Charlie Kirk would have been an amazing teacher instead of a preacher for people who didn't want to hear what he has to say. I think that I wouldn't want to be a preacher, I would rather be a teacher. And the difference between a preacher and a teacher is that a teacher doesn't ask you to change yourself. It asks you to work on your strength and to make the best of what you are. You know what I mean? And not to change your way of life, and not to be something you're not, and not to believe something you don't believe. The teacher guides you to be the best you can be. Anyway, but of course all the rabbis and the priests, they're also teachers, but not every teacher is a rabbi or a preacher. Definitely not me. I do have my belief system. It's mostly non-violence, and I'm a vegan, but I never would preach it to anyone. I come to teach kids to be the best they can and to make the most of who they are, and that's our school ideology. And we have kids from all kinds of families, and I did a family tree, and everybody is valued and everybody is respected, and that's the way it should be. Whether there's 2 fathers in the family, 1 father, 2 mothers, a father and a mother, all children and all families should be valued and respected. Peace, light, and love.